Welcome back to Memo Charts for the weekly analysis. Starting with SPY. Looking at the daily time frame, SPY reclaimed above 20 EMA and turned it as a support for last three sessions. On Thursday's early part of the session, SPY rejected from this trendline resistance, but at the last hour of the session, it bounced from the daily 20 EMA, avoid forming a bearish engulfing candle at this resistance level. You can also notice it has a bullish RSI divergence setup on the daily time frame with a bullish engulfing candle here and a Morningstar candlestick pattern here. So if SPY can close above this resistance of 748 or 49 on the daily time frame, breaking out this trendline resistance and turn this level as a support, then it would go and test the previous all-time high of 758. Looking at the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame, SPY has been holding this 9 EMA support. Last week, candle opened above 50% of this previous week's bearish engulfing candle and came down below the 50% level to sweep the liquidity and closed more than 75% of this bearish engulfing candle, taking back-to-back support from the 9 EMA level. So as we mentioned earlier on the daily time frame, if price can close above this resistance of 748.5 level and turn that level as a support, the chances are high to continue with its larger time frame uptrend. In case if price closes below the support of 739.40 below the 20 EMA and turning 20 EMA as a resistance, will lead the price to test to the 712 support and 693.94 support level. Looking at the monthly time frame, and a monthly time frame, last month it printed a hanging man or hammer candle at the all-time high level, like when it printed in November 2025. So there may be chances for topping up here at these resistance levels after sweeping liquidity above this all-time high like it did last time before pulling back to test these support levels or the EMAs on the monthly time frame. Looking at the hourly time frame, so on the hourly time frame on Thursday session, it rejected from this trendline resistance, printing a shooting star candle followed by a bearish engulfing candle, which pushed the price down to test the support around 740. But at the last hour of the session, it printed a massive bullish engulfing candle, reclaiming the 20 as well as 200 SMA on hourly time frame. So on the hourly time frame, if price can close above this resistance of 745 and turn this as a support, then it would go and test 748. Breaking above as well as this trendline resistance, we have this resistance at 754.55, followed by the all-time high around 758 level. You can also notice this inverted head and shoulder pattern on the hourly time frame, running a hammer candle followed by a bullish engulfing candle right at this support level. So unless if price closes below or open the cap down below this support level and turning this as a resistance, the possibilities are to break this resistance and test the all-time high. Looking at Microsoft, so on the daily time frame, Microsoft closed slightly above the 20 EMA after sweeping the liquidity below this lower low, currently sitting at this resistance of 394. If price is rejection from this resistance as well as the 20 EMA level, then price will come and test 330, 331 level. Or price closes above this 400 or 401 level and turning this resistance as well as 20 EMA as a support, then it would go and test this 428 level followed by this trendline resistance. Looking at the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame, Microsoft is still holding this trendline support. Also, it collected the liquidity below this low and printed a hammer candle reclaiming the 200 SMA on weekly time frame. So if price can close above this 20 EMA on weekly time frame and turn that as a support, then it would even break this trend line and continue with its uptrend, forming a double bottom pattern here. Because looking at the quarterly time frame, price is finding a support of 20 EMA for last 2 quarters. So if Microsoft prints a bullish engulfing candle in this quarter, then it will continue its larger time frame uptrend like it did once here. So on the daily time frame, price is currently sitting at the resistance level. The immediate support we have is 375 followed by the swing low of 349, 350. Breaking above this, we have resistance around 406, 407 followed by 427.28. Looking at Uber. So Uber on the daily time frame reclaimed the 20 EMA and turned that as a support also by printing a bullish engulfing candle on Thursday session. Earlier it printed an inverted hammer candle. Also, if you take a closer look on the lower time frame, we could see this inverted head and shoulder pattern and turning this level as a support now around the 20 EMA level, while it is still trading within this larger time frame descending triangle pattern. Looks like it may go and test this resistance level around 80, 82, which aligns with the 200 SMA on the daily time frame. Looking at the weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame, price has been consolidating between this resistance of 78 and the support 69. On June 2nd week, it collected liquidity below the support and printed a massive bullish engulfing candle. On June last week, closing above the 20 EMA and weekly time frame. So if price breaks through this descending triangle pattern and turning this 78 and 20 EMA as a support on weekly time frame, then Uber will continue with its uptrend because currently price is finding support from this larger time frame uptrend line. Looking at the monthly time frame, on the monthly time frame, price has been consolidating below the 20 EMA as well as right around the 78.6 fib retracement between the swing low and swing high. So if Uber prints bullish engulfing candle breaking above this descending triangle pattern and closing about 20 EMA on monthly time frame, then it would continue with its uptrend as it finds support from this trend line support as well as the 78.6% fib retracement between the swing low and swing high. Looking at MCD, the MCD also on the monthly time frame, it is taking support from this trend line support level for the third time as well as from this previous resistance breakout level. Now it is acting as a support. So if it prints a bullish engulfing candle like it printed on here, then it would continue with its uptrend. Looking at the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame, MACD collected the liquidity below this low and printed a bullish engulfing candle, forming a bullish RSI divergence, taking support from this larger time frame trend line, as well as reclaiming the 200 SMA on weekly time frame. So looks like it is forming a higher low here for this uptrend. You take a retracement between this swing low and swing high. This pattern of bullish engulfing candle with the bullish RSI divergence is formed at the 61.8% fib retracement, which is a golden fib retracement level. Even on the daily time frame also, price formed a RSI bullish divergence. On Thursday, it printed a massive bullish candle with heavy volume. So unless if price rejects from this trend line resistance and close below 20 EMA and daily time frame, MACD will try to break this falling wedge pattern and turn this resistance as a support, to continue with its larger time frame uptrend. For now, we have the overhead resistance around 286.87, followed by the one around 300 level aligning to the 200 SMA. Looking at gold, gold found support within this range and moved back to test this resistance on 20 EMA. If it rejects from this lower time frame trend line as well as this resistance level, then it would come and test this support around 3765. But if it breaks above this resistance as well as this trend line resistance and turning that 4211 as well as 20 EM as a support, then it would go and test 4377 level and the 200 SMA around 448 level. Looking at the weekly time frame, so on the weekly time frame, it printed a hammer candle collecting liquidity below this swing low. If price can reclaim back into this trend line support and closes above 20 EMA on weekly time frame and turning this price range of 4382 and 4212 as a support, then it would go and test this resistance of 4850. Because looking at the monthly time frame, price is trading near the 20 EMA. So if it produces a bullish engulfing candle closing above this 4377 level, then it would go and test this 4855 or even continue with its uptrend on the larger time frame. If price gets rejected from this resistance level around 4377, then it would come and fill this gap between 3770 and 3434. This is a monthly time frame, so it will take time. For now, on the daily time frame, price is currently at the resistance. Rejecting at this level, it will come and test 3913 followed by 3765 level. Breaking above this resistance, we have resistance at 4377 level followed by 200 SMA around 4500 level. Thank you so much for watching.